And as promised, we are back. EGF Season 3, powered by Intel. Time to light back on the desk, pressing the buttons. And joining us now is Twin Salty. Twin, before we get into today's current game, let's go ahead and back it up to the last series. We had you watching in the back. You came off the back of your series that you were just in. I mean, tell me about what you were thinking watching that one.
Well, we got done with our series when you guys were in map 3, and we're like, "Oh, Villanova won a map." Like that
Let's
is
go.
something that's huge for them, and they looked really good today, considering, how not great they've looked throughout the season, but they've continued to make progress. And I was very happy for them that they got a map win. They got really close. It was very competitive in the other 3 maps, so I was very happy for Villanova. I know some Villanova fans were happy to see the improvement. But other than that, I think also a good win for St. Peter's. They had a little bit of a rough stretch this
Yeah.
split, so getting that win off the board, puts them back at 500, 7-7. So pretty good for them, and I think Southern Utah are going to be looking for that kind of pick me up game as well today.
And I'm glad you led right into Southern Utah, right? Because they're kind of in a similar boat as what we've been seeing out of our last series in St. Peter's, I believe. They they came in hot and then they started dropping games.
Yep.
And we all know that they have the potential to, pick it up and turn it on. They just haven't had that opportunity. And it doesn't get any easier on this road through UT Arlington, as UT Arlington is one of our top 5 teams. They are one of the contenders in the league, and now it's about, Southern Utah figuring it out really, really quickly. Otherwise, I hate to say it, as much optimism as I had in our last series, I've seen Arlington many times and they are very, very good.
Yeah, Arlington, they're a different breed of team than St. Peter's. And it's no disrespect to St. Peter's, but as we kind of alluded to, St. Peter's has had a rough spring split. And I think that is why Villanova was able to capitalize on that to the degree
Mhm.
they did. Southern Utah, I don't know if they're going to have that same success. Again, we'll kind of have to wait and see. But UT Arlington, I want to say like a revenge tour after losing that game to Tennessee, but they have not been a team that I would want to play against the rest of the season because they are truly a team on a mission. And so then Utah are going to have to try and maybe pick up the slack a little bit and try maybe capitalize on some early mistakes from UT Arlington. And as I'm saying, Utah mistake of their own. Late TP means UT Arlington make the point first.
Yeah, UT Arlington make the point first, but at least they're all together right now for Southern Utah, and they are going to be pushing in as such, as Periwinkle is the first one to find Soap, but the trade comes right through, so main tanks are down, and it's just the Sigmas there to hold it down for the team, but Tiki is not going to let it reprieve at all, as the Maywall is going to find multiple targets, and the freeze and the damage is going to be able to ring true, as the first map goes UT Arlington, and to your point, they look like they are not showing any mercy right now.
No, they're pushing up, gonna try and get the Ana, not able to use Relidox, able to eventually get out and get healed up by Compress. But UT Arlington, they a well-oiled machine. There's a reason they've only lost to Colorado and Tennessee this season. Like, they only lose to those upper echelon teams because of how consistent they are, especially that DPS line of Dez and Julian, and something Southern Utah has to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Southern Utah now going to be pushing in from over the top, thinking maybe the upper angle is the way to play the game. As they finally do drop down, Dolphins is going to get right up in the front line like they did on the last one, but playing it a little slower, trying to bait out maybe some response from Arlington, but it doesn't look like they're going to take any of that bait, as Archimedes is the first one to fall. So caught out on the rotation behind the pole, and now it's just going to be about pushing in slowly but surely. If they want to use the nano boost to put the pressure on, Slam going to come down, finding two. Fire Strike's not going to be able to finish him off with no follow-up to be had. It's just going to be UT Arlington trying to respond with a Blizzard, and it is going to find multiple targets, and the MO is going to go down, and the Blizzard was enough to stabilize that fight that was looking kind of scary for a moment.
Yeah, it looked a little scary. Sopte's okay. The shatter gets canceled by the pin, as well as that shatter coming down from DXL. It gets to the fire strike goes through, but there's no follow up, as you said, because of the sim turret pressure, and they weren't really sure how they wanted to push in, as the Rhine of Sopte's okay still kind of holding strong. So now going into this potentially final fight, they have to get something from this window or from this gravitic flux.
Yeah, the flux I think is going to be the massive one, and if they can build their way up to Julian's wall, that could put a lot of pressure onto Southern Utah as both teams are just pushing right in. Another shatter going to come down, but the beat is going to find everybody on Arlington, but that is still not going to be enough to save Tiki. But the team is more than enough, and they have the revenge on their minds for their off tank going down, and that's round one. UT Ellington not showing any mercy yet again. Even when members fall, they still have ways to win the map, and we saw it right there.
Yeah, great adjustment for them. You know, your main tank gets taken out early, gets pinned, the shatter goes down, and you're still able to bring the fight back around. Especially a huge sound barrier comes out from Colby to make sure everybody can stay up for those few extra seconds, even though it doesn't fully save. Soap tastes okay. They can bring it back with just the amount of DPS coming from Julian and Dez. It is so much damage that Southern Utah just didn't know how to handle it. Now Thunderbirds got to figure out a different way here as we enter Shrine. They have to look to try and shut down the Symmetra, and their answer to it right now is going to be a Symmetra of their own, as well as, actually, it'll be just for the TP, the Symmetra. Zemetic on the Pharah, which they will have to look out for Dez because that Sombra has an eye out for flying targets pretty often.
Oh my goodness, the medic is going to find the first pick on Julian right away. A lot of damage down for UT Arlington, and a third of that dive triple team is out of the door, as well as Kobe. So now you're missing your damage and your heals. It's all on a lonely Zenyatta to keep everyone up, and some of these hack packs trying to keep everyone stable. And it's just going to be Southern Utah trying to play it nice and slow as they take control of the point. It's all on Arlington now. Can they find a way in? Can the Tracer stay? Oh, I'm sorry. It was already a swap over to the Soldier. Already had enough. Julian just thinks constant pressure is where it's going to be at. And Soap's taking a little bit of a break, but there we go. Dez and Tiki, respectively, going to find their targets they're looking for. Slam going to come down, and the point control is slowly going to tick over into UT Arlington. A moment of glory for Southern Utah, but eventually pushed back down by Arlington.
Yeah, it's a great adjustment. You know, you put Julian on the Soldier to try and deal with Zemetic, as they are the only member of Southern Utah to live that fight. And they play the comp exactly how they want to. You have so many different angles that you can poke from. And at that point, DXL, who is now on the Diva, which is a good swap for them, they couldn't do anything because they're getting shot from their left. They're getting shot from the right. They're going to get hacked. There's nothing the tanks can really do in that scenario when the walls are slowly closing in. And now they can just hold whatever angles they want while also having point.
And because Southern Utah won that first fight, they do have some ultimates building up, but Arlington will be answering in kind, and they're going to start it off with the Visor, especially getting picks with the Rocket, and the Visor will be enough. Not a lot of ults are going to need to be committed now, and even Southern Utah knew it was over. You saw Relotics just sitting there ready to die, not even moving. They knew it was over.
Yeah, Relodox was like, I just accept my fate. You know, I'm just going to chill. You can kill me if you want. Because honestly, at that point, it's going to be quicker for them anyway to try and get back into this fight if you just feed into their team instead of getting staggered out. I have a feeling Zemetic is going to swap after this barrage comes through. Ever since the Soldier change came in, they have been getting shut down time after time, so I'll have to wait and see if that happens again. And that is not a fun day in the office for Archimedes.
Justice is going to be committed into the backline, finds Julian, has the potential to be turned around as Colby and Soap are going to be taking down members back to back. Dez obviously going to be finding the Mercy, but a nice sleep onto Soap. Not going to be enough to save the rest of the team, as it is going to be a full retreat and maybe a last bit of regrouping before the last pick here.
Yeah, more regrouping coming in. It seems to be a trend over this game. They are going to stick to the Pharah for this fight. The question is who is going to be able to touch. Sombra's going to be waiting for somebody to push in so they can hack them. And the question will be, somebody will touch in the long run. It's Archimedes, but they're shut down very quickly.
Yeah, shut down very quickly. Hacks are going to come through. Trance is online. You're just pushing through about 4 different ultimates all at the same time. Makes it dang near impossible to even get any value out of that Visor. And it's unfortunate because they had a chance here if, you know, maybe they can find some momentum with that barrage, get a little bit of picks going, you know, but it just wasn't online for them.
Yeah, just that first fight went well for Southern Utah, and then UTA made the adjustment, and they ran with it from there as Julian play the game on the smash. Yeah, it's going to be from Village. It's that final fight, you know, Simula goes up, so much defensive pressure, as well as that offensive pressure with the turrets, with that beam at stage 3. You just cook with that thing at that point in time. And, UT Arlington back at it yet again. They are one of the most consistent teams I think we have in the entire league, and it's showing here yet again.
Yeah, I mean the hacks coming through from Dez, the wonderful walls, Julian, just this entire team. I gush about DPS, but Soap doing a great job making a ton of space, making it very hard for anyone to live in the back line, especially the supports. It's just a complete team. And for Southern Utah, this is what we were talking about when we were first coming in. This is a time we know you guys are struggling, but this is a really good stepping stone to find out exactly where you're at. And I think what we're seeing right now is it's that level of coordination. It's not
Yeah.
quite there. You can tell the ideas there. The execution is just a little bit subpar going against one of these, better teams in our league.
And I think part of the issue for them as well, they got drawn into the hardest division in
Yes.
EGFC as well, the Central. It is an absolute gauntlet, and it's just another round of it today for them. I'm looking at their game next week to be a true telltale of where they are. They play Montana, the other team that joined us in the spring split that struggled a little bit out of the gates.
Yep.
And I think, they can definitely win that game. And I think whatever they take today, no matter the result, can be used next week as I talked about it over on the official stream. I'll talk about it here because it's a similar situation to what Sienna was in. You're going to learn a lot more from this game than you would if you, let's say, well, I shouldn't say beat Villanova because they actually played really well today. I think Villanova versus Southern Utah, that's a good game waiting to happen.
Yes.
But I think just you're going to learn a lot more in this game than you would playing a weak team. So for them, can you make those adjustments early on? Because they caught off UTA a little off guard with the Farah early on. They win that first fight. They just couldn't make the adjustments from there in their next step. So now, can you make those counter adjustments throughout the map instead of waiting for the end of the round?
Yeah, it's a chess game right now, and they're just a step behind, is all. And I
Yeah.
think that's all we're trying to point out, right? I think every one of us, anybody that has ever casted over this team, they see the potential and they see the idea. It's about Utah taking that next step. Speaking of next steps and next map, we're going to Kings Row, which is very, very famous, one of Arlington's best maps. And it's obviously every player's one of their most comfortable maps, been in the game for God knows how long, since the beginning, I believe. So everyone's very familiar with Kings Row. We're very familiar with all of the comps that could possibly come through. I want to know, do you think that Utah sticks with Farah? I think it was a good changeup until the Soldier and the Cassidy come out. Then you swap off of it. And then once you do, what are you swapping off to?
See, I think if they're on the offense first, they may try and run it early. But I think as soon as they see a Soldier or you said a Cassidy come out, they should maybe swap. And honestly, for them, maybe, I don't know, maybe like a Hanzo or a Reaper to try and battle that front line because the front line, were actually competing against Soap and Tiki to a
Hmm.
decent degree. A lot of those times, it was more the DPS support on the front line that kind of led UTA to lead the tempo in these fights
Hmm.
because the May is going to come back from UTA. The
Yep.
May, especially in these first two phases, can be really useful on some of these choke points. So I have a feeling they're going to bring it back again. Now the question is going to be, can you counter the May and can you help your front line try and win that battle? Because I think if they get a little bit more frontline help, they
Yeah.
could, win a few more fights and maybe they can get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever questioned Southern Utah's aggression,
No.
right? They were there, they were ready to brawl it out. It's as you said, maybe the team was just a little bit, off step from what was going on, and UTA was in lockstep. They were ready to go. I think you're right. I think a Reaper and even a Hanzo brings a lot of variability to the game. He can sometimes get some lucky shots in. Wink, their opportunities mixed with preparation. Sure, it was a nice log from cross map. But that does bring that high variance, and it also brings the potential for a lot of lows as well. Because it's just like the Farah, where if you start pressuring really hard, it can kind of get run over. So I think you're right. If they start on the attack, I would love to see the Farah out the gate. But if it's obviously being countered right away, yeah, I think Hanzo and Reaper, and then really focus in on Punish and Tiki and Soap because they do play an aggressive style,
Yeah.
and you can take advantage of that.
Oh, you could fully take it. Like Tiki, almost like we never talked about him because he didn't have to do a lot that round. But
That's
I
true.
also think it was weird because usually we're like, oh, Tiki's making these incredible plays. I don't know if today it's just he didn't have to in that team comp. Like he's more in a supportive role than a
Yeah.
dominant role in that composition. So maybe that's why. But I think if you can, if Tiki's not playing his best game, and you can maybe, punish Soap a little bit more, break that shield. Maybe it leaves an opening.
Yeah, maybe. Absolutely. Um, we'll be getting into the game as we transition over here right now. Yeah, I think what's really kind of funny about this whole thing is we got to see the Arlington really utilize the May and the Symmetra in such a genuinely great way. And same thing with Sombra and Soldier. These teams know how to work around their DPS and then enable them, and the DPS in kind know how to enable the tanks. And that is such a great synergy to see from one of the top teams that it's something that you pointed out earlier. Southern Utah doesn't get a lot of this, right? They've been going up against a lot of different teams, and the Central is a very tough division. And so now they get to see what it's like when you run against some of the highest level.
Yeah, it is definitely a test of the compositions you've been running and a test of your mentals as well, because you play a team like this, they're going to beat you as hard as they can, right? Like, they're not going to hold any punches. They're going to run their game, and they expect you to keep up.
Yep.
And that's kind of what happened on Nepal. I would say I was a little surprised we didn't see Dez on the May. They just go back to spawn, so it'll be a 6-on-5 for the first bit here, as it'll take Dez a little bit of time to run back. Now they are back, and now the 6-on-6 can start up as both teams now on that Ryan and Sig.
And there's that aggression coming out right away, but a nice ante going to put Soap on the back foot, but the team's there to back him up, as it is Arlington taking advantage in round one of this first point. They do not let them breathe, like you said, and Super Juice is out for blood, and Julian's going to steal that kill, but a great job from the team. Following up, as Soap took a lot of damage, they were trying to take advantage of him.
Yeah, trying to take advantage, and again, great Anthony, great start to the fight, and then the dominoes kind of fall from behind him, and UTA just clean up shop. They're going to stick on the Pharah for now. They are 50% already to Barrage. They're going to get zoned up pretty hard by Super Juice and Julian, so to see where they plan on moving in. That May wall, it's so nasty coming in. But just walls off DXL, and they're just completely taken out, and now it's another reset coming in from Southern Utah.
Yeah, tell me, do you think they're just saving up ults to get a little bit of value out of this barrage? Do you think that's what they're going to try to do?
I
Save
think
up about 3 or 4?
Yeah, I think at this point, you basically have it at the beginning of this next fight. You might as well full send it in, try and get some value out of it, and maybe even if it's just a distraction to get your team through choke, right? That in a way could be value, and we'll just have to wait and see what the plan is. Another great anti-nade hits 3.
Yeah, anti-nade's going to find 3, but no pressure is going to come from that, as they do just have to back off. Arlington might be able to give up some of the pressure here that they have. Barrage is going to come in from behind. Not going to find anybody that they need. And there it is. They do end up finding Soap, but 3 are already down for the side of Southern Utah. Beat is going to be committed along with the window just to guarantee that that Nano doesn't find any extra value. And now we're just down to under 2 minutes with Southern Utah not even cracking the gates.
Yeah, they've barely been able to get through this choke, let alone touch the point, as Zematic now on the Cassidy. Compress over to the Baptiste, and you like to see it, but again, the speed advantage now is still in favor of UT Arlington. That's why their rotation has been so clean, because they have that Lucio speed boost from Colby, and maybe that's part of the reason why Southern Utah is getting caught out, just because they don't have the speed to get through choke.
Yeah, Julian's going to be picked off, but the Shatter, it was a beautiful distraction by Julian. All a part of the plan, and the wall's going to cut everybody off. Arlington is just going to bring him to the clean earth. I love watching plays like that. A mistake from a teammate capitalized on by Soap, knowing that they're going to have their guard down because they got a pick. Lovely play.
Yeah, heads up play, like, all right, they're going to try and push in. Let's have them all land on their backs. And the Maywall as well from Dez to make sure that cleanup is there. Now, Periwinkle going over to the May themselves, and the Flux, it's actually able to get through. It looked a little bit weird because I think it partially hit the railing, but they're still able to clean up. Tiki, maybe they heard us saying he wasn't having a great round, as a great Gravitic Flux there is going to set up that fight, and now Southern Utah on final fight territory.
Yeah, I mean, all eyes are on Compress and Archimedes and even Anna right now. Those are the only 3 coming up on ults, and it's going to be responded to by another wall that's going to come through and Blizzard. So Archimedes has to make sure not to get frozen up. It is going to come down early. Nice stun to slow down the momentum there, but it's just going to be over before it even starts. Archimedes doesn't even get to pull the trigger. They are so ready to jump on any mistake. Arlington is just a well-oiled machine.
a well-oiled machine indeed. They didn't even get to use one of their ultimates that fight. Is DXL now has to go over to the Wrecking Ball to try and touch point. The Nano, I think, goes on them as well to try and have them touch the Shatter, and the Maywall is going to decline that from happening. A dominant defense from
Yeah,
UT
and as you,
Arlington.
I mean, I gotta say, you did such a good job of setting expectations because this is a gauntlet run for them, right? Like they last week was a bit rough. The week before that, I believe,
A bit rough
I don't
as
want to
well.
say a team because I don't want to screw it up, but they've had stiff competition 3 weeks in a row, and that competition has shown them the level they need to come to these games with. Now I like Southern Utah because they are starting to get more aggressive. But now Arlington's taking advantage of their aggression by using the May and the utility we talked about previously to punish them when they walk through that choke.
Yeah, they're able to. It seemed like every single fight Dez was in the same spot, right?
Yeah.
Like every single time in the same spot. They tried to get inventive with putting the Maywall down to try and block it off, but it didn't catch him. And then by every single time Maywall goes up, catches two, and even if it doesn't get any straight eliminations, you're drawing out Immortality Field at the least,
Yeah.
and that's like a mini ultimate itself. So that's tons of value just for one single Maywall.
I was going to say the Maywall even at one point forced out both support, not only their ultimates, but both of their cooldowns on top of each other. And I think you can attest that when your supports are layering their alts and cooldowns on top of each other, it's tragedy.
Yeah, it is a very rough time, and now they're all gonna hide in a hotel. The Maywall goes down, and they are just absolutely burnt to a crisp.
Tried to give them a taste of their own medicine, but it just turned right back on him as the medic is going to go down right away. Compress does find Soap, so there is still a bit of a battle going out on point. Not just going to be a runaway point take for them. They do only need one tick. Super Juice and Colby, both supports are going to find both tanks, and now it is desperation time for Southern Utah. Who's going to be able to touch? Periwinkle finds one, but no one's going to be able to hop on that point. And there we go. UTA going to find the win on Kings Row, one of their best maps of this season.
Yeah, one of their best maps, and it shows yet again the amount of May utility they can use. Subtaste okay gets play of the game here, and I think this was the shatter. Yeah, they get that pick. They want to push it, and that Sig Shield does not block it if it is not touching the ground. That is just disgusting gameplay from the Reinhardt.
I didn't realize that Southern Utah tried to pop their hammer down at this as he was dying. I didn't realize that, and oh my god, what a play! Even more on top of what just happened.
Yeah, able to deny their shatter, land 5K shatter of your own, and just it's domination in the front line. And that time, the front line gap was a little more evident, right? Because in Nepal, it was kind of there, but with how UTA was playing, it was so spread out to where it was more everybody having those different angles, and it was more the collective. That time, UTA's front line was like, we're just going to do our thing. We're just going to push into you. You're not really going to know what to do. And from there, it is just cleanup after cleanup. And it is a rough adjustment period for Southern Utah. We're going to take a quick break as they make a game plan for Hanamura for map 30.
A nice quick break right back into the action of UT Arlington versus Southern Utah. Again, welcome back everybody to EGF, powered by Intel. We are into season 3, week 15. And now that we got all that out of the way, we do have ourselves a little bit of a roll. A little bit of a roll coming in. UT Arlington is kind of is stomping, and it's hard to sugarcoat it. But Southern Utah has an opportunity to turn around on Hanamura. I'm thinking no, but we have seen some zany strats, and the Symmetras, they're always a wild card, and I expect probably both teams will run it. So, I mean, what are your thoughts here, Twin?
I do expect a sim TP on the offense. We'll see if the defense wants to run it. I would like to see some double shield come out from Southern Utah if they're on defense first.
Mm-hmm.
As it's maybe something, just a different look. Honestly, a different look could get you a long ways, and for them, a long ways is winning consecutive fights.
Yeah.
And it's progress. It's not going to be immediate progress in this game. It still may be a 3-0. But hey, we didn't think Villanova was going to win a map today and look as competitive as they did because a switch turned at some point, right? Maybe going to Hanamura is going to be that switch Southern Utah needs to get their minds back into it, as they're going to be in the offense first, and we already have applause. As I think it's Archimedes and Relidox weren't spawning in right away, so maybe we have a bathroom break that got extended. I'm not sure. Oh, a PC crash. Well, we can't control that too much, so you're gonna have to. I know we just came back from a break screen, everybody. You're gonna have to deal with that break screen with that amazing music for a few minutes longer. As we'll be back once the PC is decided and it wants to live again. So we'll be back in a few minutes.
And we live again. The PC is back online, so they are getting prepped and getting ready back into the game as we get prepped to get ready back in the game. Twin, we were just talking about Southern Utah, and you were just talking about getting them into multiple fight wins. I am in the same boat. I think that's what that needs to happen. We've seen them win one-offs. We've seen moments from them. Now it's about stringing moment to moment together in order to maybe bring a round that's a decent time bank so that you have potential to win the game.
Yeah, honestly, for them, consecutive fights, especially on a map like Hanamura, it can be very crucial, especially in the offensive end. You need to basically win 2 fights if you want to fully capture B, because you have to either win the fight up on high ground or you have to try and basically win 2 on point just because of where spawns are and how long it takes to kill people on this map, it seems like. But as they are getting ready, I think Archimedes was the one that had a PC crash, and they are now back in. They're going to try and figure out how they want to break this double shield look from UT Arlington. It's kind of what we wanted to see Southern Utah run on their defense. We'll have to wait and see later in the map to see if they want to do that. But their issue now is going to be taking out Julian on that Pharah. Maybe a little bit of a taste of their own medicine after they've ran the Pharah for a little bit.
Right.
Let's see if Zemetic and Periwinkle can deal with Julian in the air.
I think this is the DPS lineup playing what they think is best for the double shield composition coming out for Arlington. I think they feel really comfortable on these. We've seen Julian really pick it up on the Pharah, and Dez has always been pretty deadly with the Hanzo, and they're already putting the early damage down onto Southern Utah, you know, making Periwinkle think about where they're going to stand, already taking those rockets. And Zemetic and Periwinkle, it's going to be on them to find those, you know, early shots into Julian to, you know, put the pressure on along with the front line of Southern Utah. But Dolphin's going to go down right away, and the mech is such a crucial part to this composition as the ball is just being bounced around, trying to find the Mercy on the Pharah's back, but not going to be able to do it. And poor Baby Diva left all by their lonesome as the rest of the team is falling all around them, and Southern Utah going to have to back off yet again.
Yeah, Dolphin, I don't know if they thought the dive was going to be coming in a few seconds earlier than it did, but they were left in no man's land over there on their left side near where the Pharah was looking at. So it's a rough start. Already a minute gone. You haven't really had that much progress, and now Archimedes is going to have a little bit of touch to try and at least draw the defense back a little bit. And, oh, great pick actually early on for them.
Unfortunately answered right back by Dez, and Super Juice is going to get the res, so it's actually just a 2-for-0 trade. But Compress pulls Relidex right back into it, so a 2-for-1 so far right now. But that favors nothing but Arlington, as the Hellfires and the Ultimates are in favor of them. And slowly but surely, this Baby Diva is going to get staggered out. I guarantee they don't let Dez die here. And I tell you what, Twin, this is looking tougher and tougher as the seconds roll by.
Yeah, Southern Utah, they just haven't had a decent push where they're all moving in together, right? It seems like somebody's either getting picked off early or somebody is reading the engagement wrong and pushing in too quickly. Julian's looking for a barrage or just a sneak attack, able to take out Zemetic right away, and they're just doing whatever they want in the back line.
Yeah, honestly, this is about punishing Julian, and it does look like it's going to be punished because Super Juice just kind of abandoned him. But the res is going to come through, no denial there, as Valkyrie helps sustain through it, and Super Juice is actually just going to pull the trigger on the gun. Is eventually going to get taken down by Periwinkle, and these trades actually do favor Southern Utah on this next fight coming up. But being said, Julian in a very, very precarious spot could be a massive barrage for them as they're starting to push out. He is going to be looking for at least 1 to 2 right here, and hopefully it's on the Mercy so it sticks. Don't want to be getting those reses coming through. And here it comes. Nice barrage. Going to be putting it down. Misses initially, but does end up finding one. The sleep does land, but woken up almost immediately. Some of the bullets already came through. So the medic is going to punish a little bit on the side, but the damage has been done as the rest of the team pushed through the choke without a lot of the help.
Yeah, I don't blame them for trying to push in there. Like, oh, the Pharah slept, and then we take out the Pharah, but at that point, Super Juice is back, and you've already lost 1 or 2. Man, again, these staggers just keep coming in. It's painful to watch a little bit. They have not. How many fights have they had? That's consensus. Maybe 2.
Oh,
I would say,
yes,
like, I would say
2.
full-on fights, like a 6-on-6.
2.
We've maybe had like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of 4-on-6s and 5-on-6s because of the early picks coming out from UTA, but that has been their biggest issue right now, is just getting everybody together. And with Julian on the Doomfist, that issue is going to continue.
Yeah, going to be throwing Bob straight at the point. Going to be finding Julian too, but the Dragon's eaten by Dolphin. And this is their opportunity to push through. 3 down immediately with no res in sight as Bob cleans up the Mercy. So now it's just the 2-man unit on point trying to keep it going. But with the Orisa going down and just the Ana in the fight, that's going to be first point going over in a very clutch fight for Southern Utah, only committing Mines, Bob, and Valkyrie.
Yeah, considering, you know, they were building up ults for a while to try and use everything. Only using 3, it's not the worst thing in the world. You get 3 minutes added back on the clock, and UT Arlington maybe got a little bit overconfident there, thinking that the round is already over, and they were played a little bit more loose than they should have, and it allows Southern Utah to take advantage of their poor, I don't know how to say it, poor positioning probably.
Yeah.
And now they can start looking forward. Zematic going to try and build up another Bob here in this next fight or two, as it can draw the defense off that high ground.
Yeah, and interestingly, the style of both comps is really focused around a little bit of poke into the execution of whatever the game plan is for the tanks, right? And I think it's very interesting that you'd opt into that, especially with the DPS lineup for Arlington. You would, and it has mostly favored them. But as of right now, the Flux is going to come through on 2 members of Southern Utah. They are going to get slammed down, and it's Zemetic going to be going down first. Dolphin going to be doing his best to try to bring the fight back. But Tiki is on a bit of a rampage, not letting the Mercy fly back to the Kree without any kind of harassment. As Archimedes and Dolphin X still fighting on the point, they are going to be able to drop the Orisa, but no one is going to be able to help them out as Tiki and Dez finish up the fight. My goodness, that was all over the place.
Yeah, it felt like there was the fight going up on high ground, and oh my god, Super Juice got another Valkyrie kill. And then there's the fight going on point, which yeah, Dolphin and Archimedes, they got a few, but again, we talked about it earlier. You need to win 2 fights pretty convincingly to try and fully capture point B. And now with a minute and a half left, you know, you only have the Deadeye, maybe probably a minefield later into the fight. So you don't have a lot of resources, but if you can try and even use that Deadeye to create some space on the high ground, you can try and allow Zemetic to take it from there.
Yeah, and if this sleep dart is used on anything but Bob, Bob is going to have free reign in this entire fight. I think even a high noon would have to be committed to take it down. So that does look like what they're going to try to do, though, is get up into the high ground. But that Dragon cuts them off at the pass. 3 immediately taken out. And that is an immediate call for a retreat and try to get another fight in before time bank runs out, getting down to 45 seconds.
Dez gets Dez gets 5 final blows. He probably would have got the 6 on the Dolphin, but they just decided to jump off anyway to not give him it. So we'll put an asterisk by it, but Dez, you got the team kill. Congratulations. And now going into final fight, Southern Utah don't have Bob yet. 1 big TNT and a few shots will get them over the line, at least for that ultimate, but they have a long ways to go to make some progress on point.
I was going to say long ways to go, and Southern Utah is yet to crack these doors. They have to find a way to get everybody in without losing a member. The Holt is going to prove a little bit troublesome, but the mines are going to eventually be committed here up top. The nice pick off immediately by Dez, and the Flux is going to ring true and find a ton of people and prevent them from even touching. The body blocking onto Archimedes as well was gorgeous. I mean, what else can you say? Arlington played that last fight beautifully.
Yeah, they did. Even like Soaptaste okay kind of was bait, right? As Archimedes did get the elimination on them, but they can't get to point in time because they were so focused on taking out the Orisa. The Bob used, yes, to contest high ground, which isn't a bad idea, but in that point, you may just want to save him to at least touch point so you don't have to worry about throwing somebody on point. And at that time, Southern Utah, yes, there's a little bit of body blocking coming out from Arlington, but not able to throw somebody on to at least trigger overtime. It's a tall hill to climb to try and win this map, or at least tie this map and send us to a map 4. And they're going to show some stuff we have not seen from them today. Time will tell if they're able to, but the frontline battle just not going their way, and neither is DPS.
Yeah, and I think a lot can be said for kind of sticking together as a team, losing that way. That was obviously a conscious decision. We're going to try to win this fight outright up top, and when we do, we touch together. I think that was definitely the game plan. Obviously didn't work out for them, but I do like that they committed to that. They committed to getting those kills first before touching the point. Some would say it was a mistake. I think it was as well. But for them as a team, it's nice to see them commit as a team. We haven't seen a lot of it at all today. And that moment, they got through the choke and they actually committed. So commendable where it is. I like what they did there. But now it's about them on the defense and how can they work together to prevent a lot of this pressure from the Genji. Going to be coming out for Julian. Kind of love it. A little bit different look for him. I think they're starting to have a little bit of fun. Definitely not something we see from them often, but it is something that can be very effective, especially when you get picked like that and the Mercy Pocket. A lot of damage going to be put down fairly early. Nice Accretion going to be finding this target onto him, but Dez on the other side going to be finding Compressed, and they're just all over and on top of their heads. They can't find them up for down. They don't know which way is left or right, and they eventually take the point right here. That was very well played.
That is the dive Southern Utah tried to do for 3 minutes, right? Like
Yeah.
that kind of dive where you break down the shields early, you can just walk straight through choke and not have a care in the world. Julian has Dragon Blade already for this fight, as they'll be looking with the Mercy damage boost to try and finish off this map here and now. The Ash doesn't realize he's up there, now they do, and he's just going to be able to reset.
Yeah, now it's going to be all about the Dragon Blade with this damage boost on him. Soap going in really early. Nobody was there to follow up, and it looks like he's going to be able to find the first kill. Try to deny the res and get on top of the Mercy. Is going to be able to get right on top of her. Not going to deny the res, but Super Juice is, as that is probably the 5th Mercy kill on Mercy I've seen in this match so far. And the headshots are not going to ring true for Periwinkle, as it is just full map control for this Genji. Dipping and dashing, resets galore, and it's just on top of this poor Sigma with just Mercy Pocket heals, but the respawns are starting to come through, and it's all on Dez and Julian, but it's not quite enough yet, as the respawns still are coming through, and there you go. Dez is going to pop that. Not going to be enough, though, because the respawns, as I said, are still coming through. This favors the defense. Even though he has this high ground control, it's a long haul. You got to find multiple kills with that Visor, and only finding one isn't enough, as the respawns do eventually come in. And now it's a true fight, as Flux is going to be committed in order to stall this out even longer. Julian is back into the fight as well. They do need to send someone up here to contest Dez. Otherwise, it's just going to be doom and gloom for them. Periwinkle finds Dez finally, and that's a lot of damage off of the high ground. But Tiki going to be throwing in the Diva Bomb. And there we go. Kill starting to ring true for Arlington. My goodness, they are just all over the place trying to get these kills to close this map out, as the respawns keep coming in and in and in. And the picks keep coming through, and there they go again. Another round of them. I'm gonna let you get in here, Twin, because they just keep on it coming.
Yeah, it's a great stall so far from Southern Utah, but I don't think it's gonna be enough in the end. The res comes through. There goes one with the Dragon Blade. Gonna get the second. There it is. Looking for the Tracer, not able to get it quite yet. There's the finishing. Yeah, finishing blow from Tiki this time around. I think that might be the end of Southern Utah's luck. It is going to be, as a commendable stall from Southern Utah comes in, takes off a minute, but the damage is too much for them. UT Arlington complete the sweep.
So I definitely thought that was going to go in Southern Utah's favor, at least that round fight right there, because they were starting to find picks, and on the defense, stalling isn't enough. Usually you have to find 1, 2, 3, and they did that. The High Noon found Dez. You eventually take down Julian. Then the Ana goes down, you know? But they were able to stall on the offense for so long that their star respawn started to come in, and then all of a sudden, like they eventually just overtook it with damage because no more picks came through for Southern Utah. It's just absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah, it was just. Don't get me wrong. That's the best we've seen Southern Utah play, was the stall. But as you said, UTA looked a little scary there on the point B offense, as they lost a few. Badu's stomach coming back in, but again, keeping people on point, slowly getting those eliminations, building up those ultimates again, and that Dragon Blade just finishes off the entirety of the momentum that Southern Utah was slowly building up through that set. Like, hey, we're still in it, we're still in it. Because yeah, that was nearly a minute stall, I would say. So it's something for them to hold their heads on, but UT Arlington, just another win in the books for them now. 11-3 on the season, 4-2 in the Central Conference, and they're looking for a great way to try and finish off the season with just a few weeks left. We are going to have an interview in just a second here. I believe we are just getting them in the call, so I cannot wait to speak with them and see how their thoughts on this 3-0 win.
Yeah, we're gonna have Tiki coming in with us from UT Arlington in that kind of dominant stomp. But before we get Tiki in here, as he gets set up, just gotta say that's what the top teams do, right? They just find a way to pull it out when they shouldn't. And that was a moment where they should not have won that last fight, but clutch moments, back to back to back, on top of Julian's damage, Tiki coming back in. You had a bunch of other players, yeah, doing what they needed to do. And that, I love it. And we're going to find out here in just a second if Tiki is ready. And it looks like he is ready to join us. Just going to have a second for him to come on in.
I think, yeah, Time Delight, the wonderful caster and producer extraordinaire, is getting him in. There he is, Tiki now on our screens. Hello, hello, Tiki. Congratulations on the win. And how does it feel?
It feels pretty good.
Good
Awesome.
to
I
hear.
was just thinking I've interviewed you 2 or 3 times now, Tiki,
Hmm.
and I have this serious question for you. When it comes to your guys' team, can you tell me about your guys' dynamic after the Tennessee loss? What has the shift been mentally? Because it just seems like you have your foot on the neck of every opponent you face since, and you never let up. I don't know, is that a mental shift or are you guys just plain angry?
I think it's a bit of everything, honestly. That Tennessee loss, honestly, in our minds, we should not have lost that. Um, and there's a bunch of things different. Like I was on main tank, we had soap on off tank. We were trying it out just to see if maybe that would help up our comm structure a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, it was kind of a stepping stone because now our comm structure is a lot better. Seeing that I was on main tank last semester, and so I kind of know how to go around it.
Mhm.
Um, but we kind of just looked past it. We went to the next game, and we understand that before we were probably seen as like the number 2 team, and now since we lost that, we're probably seen somewhere in top 5, if not like just out of it. And so we have that in the back of our brain every single week, and we're just playing. We're playing from behind, even though we are more ahead, I guess.
And that's, I mean,
So
that's, yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say that's like a good mindset to have, right? And I was wondering about that because even in the first couple rounds, we're talking about, oh my God, they're showing no mercy. You guys are charging forward. You guys are even meeting them at their spawn doors at some points. Tell me about how the synergy has come together now that you guys have this new mindset, this new comm structure. Like, how have the players responded to it since you guys have made these slight changes?
We've definitely grown, I would say.
Okay.
Uh, Especially with me and Soap. That was the main thing. A majority of this roster was the exact same as it was last semester, except I moved from main tank to off tank.
Hmm.
Which actually changes up everything because main tank is the main caller, right? So, it was very rough at the start with especially with all the winter storm stuff and us having to like move from place to place. Like I don't have a PC at home right now,
Mm.
so like in the Tennessee game I had to walk to a friend's house to play, like
Oh
20
my
minutes in
goodness.
the cold. So
Committed.
there's a bunch of things like going against us, but we're just ready to show that we are actually who we believe we are and that we're actually like the best team.
Yeah, and I gotta say for me that shows a lot of dedication, and I love watching you guys. You guys are awesome, and I know Twin has been itching to ask you something here.
Yeah, so next week, you got 2 weeks left, right? And, in 2 weeks, we have Montana. I think seeing how you guys played tonight, I don't think Montana's going to be an issue for you guys. So the game I want to look at is next week. Delaware, they're a hot team. They have played better as of recent. I wouldn't say they're top 5 where I think you guys are sitting right now, let's say, with Colorado and Marist. But what do you think the game plan is going to be next week against a team that has the potential to knock down a top 5 team?
Honestly, I think we're probably just gonna go in with the same old mindset. Uh, we're we're here to win, and we're trying to prove that. Uh, Again, because we had that one loss, it's people in our brains. We have it that people are kind of doubting us in weeks, especially where we're going against tough opponents. So we're gonna show up ready to show what we've got, and that we can actually that we're back to what we were like last semester or the beginning of this semester.
Good to hear. Well, that's all I have. Any shout outs that you would like to do, whether it be your teammates, family, friends, after tonight's win?
Shout out, I mean, of course, to my teammates. Shout out to the other team, by the way. They played great. It was a little bit of a mixed match, like SR wise, but it's they played they played great. Also, shout out to my parents who are watching currently, and then also to my stream chat who show up to all my games and support me, and I love it that they to see them in chat when we're playing games. So
I
All right.
love
Well,
Twitch
thank
chat.
you. As I say, thank you so much, Tiki's parents. Thank you for watching. Everybody that is a part of the EGF fan club there, thank you so much for being here. And thank you, Tiki, for taking time to join us.
thank you.
All right. Well, I tell you what, that was such an honest interview, I gotta say. I absolutely loved it because hearing that they're even from our last victors, there's been turmoil, there's been um, controversy, there's been adversity, and they're overcoming that. All these teams that are starting to pick up wins, they're starting to overcome near the latter half of the season, and it's all culminating into the playoffs. And I can't be happier that UTA is taking the underdog mentality of that one loss is going to be talked about by everybody, even though we kind of look at it as an outlier. We don't look at it as
Yeah.
one of those things that happens all the time. Maybe you don't feel that same way.
Well, as someone who I casted that game with Sir Waltham, and it was a weird game to watch. And I'm not gonna lie, he was saying like one of the people, kind of doubted them after that loss. I was one of them after that week. It's like what's happening to UTA because they looked a little bit worse in the second game against Colorado than they did first. Ever since that Tennessee game, they've really picked it up. You can tell the communication's better, as he was saying. The communication structure between him and Soap and the rest of the team is building. They could be a team, if they continue the momentum, to really maybe bring it to a Marist or a Colorado. And we'll just have to kind of wait and see, especially next week against Delaware. I think it'll be more to tell where Delaware is going to be more than anybody, but I think for UTA as well, it's like these contender teams that, outside the top 5 wanting to push in, we need to settle business and just put them away.
Absolutely. And for Southern Utah fans out there, good showing. And for UT Arlington fans, you have so much more to look forward to in this season. And speaking of this season, we do have our next games coming up with Fairfield and St. John's. So if you're in love with Overwatch and you're an EGF fan, stick around because we have that coming up on the back half of this break. We'll see you in a second.